Hey guys, welcome to another Bookmas video. If all goes right in my filming schedule, this should be going live on my 5th booktube anniversary. Crazy to me that I've been here for 5 years. I remember my first year seeing people with channels about the same size as mine and being like, oh, I would have thought they would have been bigger by then. Here I am, this size, and you know what? It is not the size of the channel that makes it worth it. It is you guys and the community. I have loved my 5 years here on booktube. My only regret is that I didn't find out about it sooner, which I can't really do anything about. So originally my plan had been to do a tag. I've done this the last few years. It's a booktube anniversary tag, but then I realized I didn't leave any space in my booktube calendar to share book suggestions that would work well for the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge January's prompt, which is beauty. So I'm gonna scrap the anniversary tag. I've done it the last few years. There's not a whole lot of change in my questions, in my answers to the questions. So we're gonna leave that. We're gonna talk about beautiful books. So I think I made a list of books that I have read that are beautiful, and then I've made a list of books that are currently on my TBR that might work. So I'm doing it very loose for the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. I just did one-word prompts this year. I've got the whole video explaining how it's working, but you can use these prompts however works for you. So January is beauty. Your book could have a beautiful cover. It could have the word beauty or beautiful in it. It could have beautiful writing. Any way you can take beauty and make it work, I'm good with that. So let's start off my list. This is in no particular order. We've got some that have beauty in the title, some that are beautiful. We'll go into it. The first one I have is one I read in October, I think. It is a Red Riding Hood retelling called Cloaked in Beauty. I requested this one originally from NetGalley because I really liked the cover as well. I thought it was beautiful. So it is set, when was it set? I would say late 1800s, early 1900s, I don't even remember. Our main character, it starts out with her being a young girl, and her mother sends her and the grandmother into hiding. You know, the grandmother, and they go to live in a cabin in the woods. The girl gets a wolf pet. We've got all the Red Riding Hood elements going on. The reason the mother sent them in hiding is because the uncle wants to kill the young girl. I mean, make it look like an accident, but it's for money purposes. She has an inheritance coming that he wants. And so they're supposed to hide away until, the girl's name is Scarlett, I think, till she's 21, I think it was, and then she can come into her inheritance herself. And right at the beginning of the book, she's about to come into the inheritance, almost to be that age, but the uncle is searching really hard for her to kill her before she comes that age, and the mom sends a Pinkerton detective to find them because she doesn't even know where they are, and secretly brings Scarlett back. So that's what happens. We follow Scarlett as she's with this Pinkerton detective trying to outsmart the uncle. There was a lot of great things about the book. A little bit predictable, but it was enjoyable. Then we've got another one with beauty in the cover. This is Dangerous Beauty. We start out with a girl that has been trafficked, and in the first chapter, this guy notices something's off, and it's a relationship of convenience. I don't remember why he decides to save her and take her back to his apartment. It sounds like it could be another sketchy situation, but it's not. I personally did not love the book, but lots of people here on BookTube did, so I definitely wanted to recommend it. And I did see that a couple of you had said that was your book that you were going to be reading in January, so it's a good start. A non-fiction, I've got a couple non-fiction actually coming up next. I really loved Awaking Wonder. I don't have the book with me right now, but I think the subtitle says something about beauty, and Sally Clarkson is really good at finding beauty in life, and this is a homeschool book. It's about helping your kids find beauty in life as well and sharing that with them. This is one that I've read twice already. It only came out a few years ago, and I would like to reread it. My copy is so highlighted, and it's got like highlights upon highlights. If you are homeschooling, definitely one of the top books that I recommend. Speaking of Sally Clarkson, This Beautiful Truth is by Sarah, right? It was Sarah? Yeah, that one's Sarah's. I read this one a couple months ago. I thought it was really good. Sarah is very deep. This talks a lot about her struggles with OCD and depression and that kind of stuff, and finding the beauty in life. It's a very heavy book, like emotionally, but also a heavy book like academically. She's very smart and sometimes I felt like a little too smart for me, but it took me a while to get through the book and I did enjoy it. Then we've got Adorning the Dark. This one is by Andrew Peterson. I have raved about this book ever since I read it. Another one I would like to reread. The whole premise behind this book, so he is a storyteller, an author, a songwriter, a singer, like a super creative person. The whole premise behind the book is to be able to tell God's story as beautifully as you can. I think using the gifts that you've given and telling his story and sharing his glory with people as beautifully as you can, which I loved. There was so much in that book that I loved. I have a beautiful edition of My Cousin Rachel, and Rachel in this book I think is also supposed to be very beautiful, so it can kind of work multiple ways. This is a classic by Daphne du Maurier. I don't think it's her best work, but we follow a man whose uncle has just passed away, but something kind of suspicious. There's something suspicious about his circumstances of his death. So the main character goes out to Spain where he died, tries to figure things out, and meets Rachel, who this man was married to for a while, and it's definitely got those gothic elements. Of course, I have to share Anne of Green Gables. I have multiple beautiful editions. I shared so many of them in my A Year of Maud announcement, and Anne is so good at finding the beauty in life everywhere. You know, she's taking names that people have named things and renaming them to something more beautiful, like the Lake of Shining Waters, I think it is. And she's very energetic and busy, but she is also so good at seeing beauty. And we are reading Anne of Green Gables for the read-along for January, so if you want to double up here, this is a great time to do so. Then we have A Little Princess. I have multiple beautiful editions of this book as well. This is one of my favorites of Frances Hodgson Burnett, partly because I loved the movie as a kid, the 19-something version, not the Shirley Temple version. And also, Sarah Crewe has a beautiful character. Like, she starts out the book being rich and being a pleasant person, but then things happen and she loses all her money, is no longer living in the best room in this boarding house, and instead is a servant who is treated terribly. And yet she still believes that she and all girls are princesses and should be treated as such. She has a great imagination and is wonderful at seeing the beauty in life, even when it seems like there is nothing beautiful to be found. I also want to mention The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett because it is another one that focuses on beauty, but it takes longer to get there. The main character, Mary, starts out as a nasty little girl, like she's very self-centered. Pretty much starts out the opposite of Sarah Crewe. But living on the moors where she goes to live with her uncle, I think it is, she starts to see the beauty, and then she finds this secret garden, and her and... oh, I'm blanking on the boy's name. Oh, I know it, but it's not coming to me. It's really bothering me. Whatever. They do such a good job, you know, bringing this garden back to life and the beauty there. So definitely recommend that. I've got Heart of Red, Blood of Blue on here as well. This is one that I read in the summer and loved. So it's fantasy, but there's no real magic. It's just set in a fantasy world. And our main character is going to be the princess. She's like she got a few siblings ahead of her kind of thing. But I thought this would be a good one for beauty because she really struggles with feeling like she is beautiful because she's an albino. And that plays quite a role in the whole book. People think she's a witch because she's an albino, which if you're reading just parts of the book, you might think there's some magic, but that's all it is it's a superstition. And so her beauty, or her lack of feeling beauty, is such a big part of it. I wanted to include that. Then we have Romanov by Nadine Brandeis. The one thing that I took from this book when I read it years ago, so it's a fantastical retelling of the Romanov family when they were in like house arrest, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And the one thing I took away is a true fact that the Romanovs were so kind to their guards that they constantly needed to be switched out because they were worried that the guards were going to get sympathetic to them. And I felt like their beauty, their character is so beautiful, it would be a great fit. There is also a nonfiction that I might read. I really want to read. I'm just thinking of this right now, so I didn't have this on my TBR list. I'll put it up. I can't remember if it's just called Romanov or if it's called something else. That was just recommended recently as well in my Patreon book club. So that one might be a good one for me and maybe others. And then my last recommendation is The Lost Spells by Robert Macfarlane. This is a poetry book with beautiful watercolor illustrations, and it's all about nature. That actually makes me think of another one. Speaking of nature, The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady is a year-long visual diary with some text as well, by Eden Holden. So I think it was like 1905 or 06. She just kept this diary of what she saw in nature, wrote some poems. It's very beautiful. Definitely would work. And then I've two books that I might read. I haven't decided yet. One is The Garden Girls. This is the one that I mentioned in my original reading challenge announcement because the cover is so beautiful. I'm a sucker for flowers, you guys. I was a tomboy as a kid, and I still definitely have like that part of me, but then also I like flowers. So this is the third book in the Strange Crimes Unit series, where we follow a different agent of the unit in each book. And the crimes are intense, the faith themes are wonderful, and I have given both the first two books 5 stars, so I'm banking on that one being a 5-star as well. And then the last one I have is Only the Beautiful by Susan Meisner. I have heard conflicting things from people on this book, and it's one of the reasons I haven't picked it up. Also, I haven't been in a huge historical fiction mood. I don't remember what it's about at the moment, but it has the word beautiful in the title, so that's why it's an option for me, although I would be surprised if I ended up picking up that one. So those are my recommendations and my potential books for my TBR. I would love to hear, like, what are you guys planning on reading for January? Leave your ideas, either your potentials or your definites down in the comments. Those might help to inspire other people that are looking for some more recommendations. And thanks for hanging out with me yet again.